It's your boy Online Davo, and we back with another video. We got a video about fuck DH. The issue is bigger than Faze Clan. Now we're gonna see what the hood Socrates got to say on this situation. Come on.
I wasn't even gonna make this video for real. A nigga had been stepping back and living life, but goddamn, this nigga Max went out so bad he had me coming back to making a video like the Green Goblin mask. That nigga is getting cooked harder than me, and honestly, this is probably the worst way a black man has went out in recent history, or at least in terms of pop culture. But honestly, looking at the criticism, it's kind of split. Surprisingly, you have people who support Faze Diddy Banks, but then you have the people who obviously support Max, but are disappointed like a disappointed father. I think I have a unique perspective though, because the way I look at it, I feel like Max has his own part to play in this, and you know we got to clock that T, bitch. Comment for the algorithm. Okay, so to start this off, we need to talk about the recent things Max revealed about the reason behind his departure from the Faze Clan. I'm just gonna play all these clips and let y'all see, and I'm gonna do it all at once because I'd rather lay it out plainly.
We had no control. There was no control. We're just like we're puppets. At least that's what it felt like. You get what I'm saying? Anything could happen at any moment. We don't own this shit. We don't, and we don't have control over our careers.
That's because they sold them the dream of you work for yourself, but we're just helping you achieve your dreams. Like niggas are gonna do that for the kindness of your heart for free. Come on, bro. They're gonna have some type of control over you, you know? But they started talking sweet to them. They started rubbing their shoulders, trying to harping up. I think you could be the next big thing. I see it in you, young man. I can see it in you. Come on, man. You know how the game go.
Much as we should have.
They tried to make that nigga pay 20 bands a month. What the fuck? Or give a percentage of myself. What the fuck? But Max is such a good nigga. He just, yo, bro, I just want to. And now niggas like Max look crazy, look like egoed out niggas.
Now, as I know, FBD worked for me. It's my cousin. Now he's strings now. He worked for me. He sat in meetings and he heard these things for his own ears. I mean, free man. He's allowed to say whatever he wants as he feels.
Sorry, man.
So I could ramble about each clip, but what this boils down to is that it's just a bunch of corporate / industry bullshit. It's such a nasty sight to see because how did content creation go from something that was built on the backs of the people? How could something like that be turned into such a streamlined gimmick? And
I mean, shit, you just said it. Corporation bullshit, capitalism. You know what I'm saying? Once a corporation gets their hand on something that's started off as a passion, it drains it dry. Okay, like any type of financial profit that was in it, it's over with. It could start off as something so wholesome and welcoming and kind-hearted, but once they get their hands on it, it becomes a cutthroat business because that's how that corporate world works. That's how they got to the position they got to, you know, by coming into industries, making money off the industry, disrupting that industry, and moving on to the next thing. And then now that industry loses all type of credibility, you know, or it went from one thing to something totally different and you don't even recognize it, you know?
evidently, content creation has evolved to have some serious downsides with the corporatization, because Max is bluntly telling us he felt like a puppet. And the inner conspiracy nigga in me is saying that sounds like he sold his soul. But I'll be a little more grounded and just point out the stark contrast between this Max and the one pre-Faze. He's also under such a tight NDA. This nigga is having his cousin confirm the conditions he was in, like having to pay 20 bands a month to stay in a guest crib. That's life-changing money for a lot of people, and he's throwing it to stay in a house.
20 bands changed my life. Shit, I need that a month? Shit. What?
Mind you, old Max was staying in my Duke's crib for free. This nigga went from free housing to 20 band tax. But the most fork found in the kitchen thing to me was Max playing
20 bands. That's crazy, nigga. I could pay y'all to decorate my room how the other Faze member rooms are and keep it pushing, bro. But they're part of a group, so maybe that's a requirement of we gotta stay in the same house. But I don't know. All this shit is weird, to be honest.
that laugh track at Banks's tweet to obviously signal the contrary. But like, Banks is so clearly evil, why did he even do this? That's what I mean by fork found in the kitchen. Banks sets off all the alarms when it comes to danger, yet niggas still trust him, niggas still be around him. And I just got a lot of stuff to say about him, but that's...
I don't even think it's trust. I more so think they just don't care. I'm gonna keep it. I think they just don't care about the allegations, or they heard it, but they're not trying to confirm it. Like, they might have heard some type of weird shit on his name, but they're not going to him and ask him about the situation, so they can have plausible deniability. Come on, bro. They know this. They already know what's up. We can't keep giving these niggas passes, man. Like, yeah, they may have came up, but somewhere along the way, they stopped giving a fuck about whatever morals they told you, me, or the internet about.
For later. Like I've been saying though, it really comes down to pre-Faze versus post-Faze Max, and with just 3 clips you can learn that a millionaire not only felt like a puppet, you can learn that he was being turned into the method and paying 20 bands to sleep, and then on top of that he's hinting at an evil white man being behind the huge collapse of an organization. Let me know if he had more or less problems with my dukes, because personally I'm not going for that little shit. And let's just talk about that for a second. Back when Max wasn't in Faze, he had a cool little thing going on, and comparing the energy then to now, it's vastly different. You see, pre-Faze Max had a group of friends, and if you've been around and you've watched my videos, you know.
I was thinking for a second. I don't think what's that nigga name? Faze Banks. I don't think Faze Banks. I mean, you could say him being white plays a factor into it because he did call Max a nigga, and that is a slur that's referred to black people by white people. So you can acknowledge the race aspect to it. I was trying to figure out where that part came in, but you could find a way to connect it, just like with anything in life.
I referenced this a lot, but what stood out to me as some really good content at the time was 5-Star House. Max invited a bunch of his homies to an Airbnb. They did challenges, and it just felt so real, so authentic. And the fact that it was one dude, his friends, and a team that was obviously curated by him, it felt more in line with your at-home creative. That's right. A nigga and his crew versus the world, and he traded that to be with a bunch of questionable people, and even has done some questionable things himself. But I'll elaborate on that in a second. I hate to put it in terms like this, but when Max joined...
Hey, your circle is a representation of you. How you view yourself is the people you allow to be around you.
Faze, he got closer to the industry. And in the same way Icarus got too close to the sun, I think Max got too close to the industry.
It's called, when Max left, he called him like, yo, bro, why you leaving? Why you leaving? Give him all the reason. He's like, yo, bro, the last reason for real was, you called me a nigga. You know what this response was like? Who said that? Who said that? Who said that? What? And he's like, bro, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I know you said that shit. I know you said that shit.
I said this word in an emotional response. And I said, all y'all blanks. And it's a mistake, and I'm fucking retarded. I'm a 34-year-old man-child.
Yeah, he's still crazy for saying that, though. You can't blame that on being, like, what? Like, just because you was mad. Like, nah, bro. You said that shit because that's what you be saying when you get angry. Or maybe that's just the words you use casually around people that allow you to use it.
And I have many, many flaws, and I'm an idiot for saying that. If you really have a problem with that, why have you told me multiple times I don't have a problem with that, we're good? If you really have a problem with that, and I could say this, Ron, last subathon, fucking said it. Muted his mic and said it. The chat laughed, and everybody told him to say it, and he said it. Lacey has admitted to saying it publicly. You know this.
I'm going to be honest. These are very, very, very weird circumstances. Like, extremely weird circumstances. I know there's a lot of back and forth that's transpired between Max and Banks.
See? You give a nigga an inch, they take him out. They allowed someone else to say it and laugh it off. So he thought, fuck it. I thought it was good. I thought we all could say it. Now, it looks like, oh, so they could say it, but I can't. Even though that sounds crazy, coming from a grown man, like, what? But you get the point of, if you're going to stand on it, then stand on it when that opportunity presents itself. You got to nip it in the bud before it grow.
And I'll briefly touch on that just for the story's sake, but I want to talk about the implications beyond the sensationalized media, because it's just very weird how a black man can be subjected to these casually racist environments, and how not only will he enable it, because here's a screenshot of Max not only telling Banks he's past it, but also how he's going to make him proud. I really need to come back to that.
What do you say?
Telling Banks he's past it, but also how
I'm gonna make you proud, bro, and thank you for always believing in me. This was before or after oh man. See, that's what I'm saying, bro. That's how it's like, yeah, some of these niggas being the wrong and shit like that. But it's like, we gotta factor in these grown men. These grown men, they playing around with the big boys. They playing around with niggas that's gonna find a way to manipulate the social media to have you looking a certain way. You gotta know how to move around these people. You know, you can't be too trusting with people when your relationship start off based on a financial, you know, on a financial end game, end result, you know? So it's like, watch out, bruh. Watch out.
Oh, he's gonna make him proud. I really need to come back to that. Banks also exposes everyone else for saying it. And these types of people lead to other people like this.
No, dude, don't Ricky, you're going backwards. Dude, there's nothing wrong with saying that. If you're saying it in a non-racist way with your friends and you're not doing it on stream and they're okay with you doing that, no, it's not about shut up, Aiden. I don't care.
You just
I'm not gonna lie, bro. The more I see of Aiden Ross, the more I'm just like damn, like he's on that tier of like, not Myron, but I don't respect him at all. Like his opinion doesn't matter to me. Like he's just a lame. Like he's just a lame ass nigga. So it's like weird, right?
this guy Aiden trying to push this weird propaganda, and he's just the last person that should be leading any type of conversation like this at all.
Because you could see through the whole, like, you could see the act he's putting up. You could see him catering to an audience, you know? So it's like, bro, we could see you acting, but do your thing, I guess.
All Faze guys perpetuating these casual racist environments empowers ignorant people to be loudly wrong. And what fries me is that Banks was just trying to be petty. He was exposing the Faze guys for pillow talking about Max, and here's what I'm thinking about it. I don't know how true it is. There's definitely a chance that some words were exchanged, but I also think it just boils down to pettiness, given how nobody likes him for real. But at the end of the day, I think when it comes to listening to anything Faze Banks says, view it through the lens of there's truth, but there's also a vendetta. And even if the Faze guys were talking bad about Max, I mean, this is LA streamer business. Is that really anything to be surprised at? I don't think so. Max responded,
nah, this ain't the LA thing. It's just lame niggas things. It ain't, hey man, they ain't got nothing to do with Cali and LA. Like, yeah, weird shit be happening in LA, but that be, you know, out the way, you know what I'm saying, in the cut somewhere, you know?
it's all of this by essentially boiling all of this down to Banks taking advantage of him when he was vulnerable. And that's where the whole I'ma make you proud thing comes in. People were on Max's side, but they expressed a just genuine disappointment in what he was doing here. But I think a lot of these opinions are based on how unlikable Banks is and the fact that Max went out extremely sad. He was literally venting to Faze Banks at his lowest and not his mom. That's demonic, twin.
What
I'm
did he
not gonna
say?
lie. There's levels to it, and that's one of the lower ones. But I say all this to say this is bigger than Max because
Not his mom. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, that is crazy, bruh. Especially the way that whole thing just... That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. When you try to look for guidance from people who should not be giving no life advice, it's like, you know, what you expect. People tell you stuff. There's a certain, I don't want to say energy, but there's a certain type of, you know, words matter. Words matter. So if this person giving you all type of advice and stuff, you got to also consider the person that's giving the advice. You gotta consider how they live their life. Because, you know, if you are taking advice from that person, eventually you're going to end up close or similar to the same situation that person's in, depending on what it is. So it's like, hey, man, keep your circle small, bro. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why you left the group. You should have cut ties off with niggas. But you tried to, you know, be diplomatic about it. I get it.
is generally speaking, there is definitely something more predatory going on in the industry where someone who is on his own rise can be swept under the industry connections, and all of a sudden that same person who should be happy and surrounded with abundance is now a puppet. But that's only the start of the industry relationship because it gets weird from all sides, in my opinion. I feel like there are a few things we need to keep in mind. Blackboy Max has changed, Faze Banks has been a weirdo, and at what point do we acknowledge the fact that someone can go from bright-eyed kid to compromised by the industry? I always mention these two situations, but Tay and Jace are my go-to examples when I think about how Blackboy Max...
I mean, shit, it happen every day, to be honest. Every day there's some kid out there who one day they used to be rose tinted glasses. Life is this and that. I could do everything I ever want to do in life. I could be anything I want to be if I put my mind to it. And then somewhere along the way, life just said, fuck it. And then they can't remember the last time they dreamed. They can't remember the last time they hoped. So it happens every day, but we're just, seeing it in real time with Plaque Max. But maybe he's going through that phase. Maybe this is a life lesson to really make him lock in and choose better people to be surrounded by,
Change. That would be prioritizing content over his friend's well-being. Tay Too Smooth was a situation that rubbed me wrong, but it was easily brushed off because, let's be honest, Tay was really a lame ass nigga, and he did some really foul stuff. Talking behind your friend's back is really foul. But despite that, I maintain the idea that Tay Too Smooth was reduced to the fool and made a laughing stock, and this was reaffirmed when Max did the same thing to Jace.
Oh, yeah.
But it gets weirder, because right now Max's cousin is a legend. That Faze Banks had a predatory relationship going on with Charlie D'Amelio, but I think that really adds a new layer because recently Banks was just involved in the cover-up of Faze Temper's allegations. Well, allegedly that is.
Breaks my heart. And bro, when I told Banks about it, he said, nah bro, that's just some Tommy shit. I don't think it's a big deal because it was over the phone where it's like gone, right? I'm not recording phone calls. I don't record phone calls. Actually, I did with Lee Trink one time because he's a fucking rat. But one time I recorded a phone call. Okay. I don't record phone calls or do no weird shit like that. He said that. He said that's just some Tommy shit and didn't think it was a big deal. Right? And he knew going forward.
Did I make a video to this? I'm trying to think. Did I make a video to this or did I just watch it? Damn, I kind of remember this situation. Damn, it's slipping my mind right now.
But yeah, let me pull up the tweet. And then when I texted him about it later down the line, he pretended like we've never talked about it before. I was like, bro, what are you doing? And in my head, I'm like, bro, he's just doing this so that if I hypothetically ever screenshotted it, it wouldn't, it looks like he cares and he's defending it like that.
That's Faze Rain saying Banks knew allegedly what temper was on, and according to Rain, was texting him in a way that maintains his deniability. And mind you, this was one of the bigger Faze scandals that was going on, and you had this casual relationship between Max and Banks. It's all just some really weird type of shadowy cabal stuff going on. That's how I'm viewing it. Like I said, generally speaking, the industry is very
Man, they snatched that nigga Max up. That nigga Max seen behind the curtains. He said, fuck that. Hey, and now once you try to lead that situation, a lot of shit gonna follow you. Some niggas push through. Some niggas make it through. Others, they never bounce back. So, how you bounce back is all on you, Max, bro. This what boys turn to men. You feel me?
Predatory, and Max could very well be a victim to an extent, but victims can also become perpetrators in the same way. So the way I've been viewing this is that the corporate stuff and the breakup Faze is having right now is just media sensationalized. Let's be honest, chat. These are all very immature people who are imploding on themselves, and that's being blown up bigger than what I personally think it needs to be. I'm having more issues with the casual racism, the tolerance given to questionable individuals. I want to cite it again, the intolerance paradox. Let's not continuously extend tolerance to the intolerant. And also, I'm just having trouble understanding why if Banks...
That's what this whole country is off of. You know what I'm saying? We live amongst racist people. We live amongst murderers. We live amongst rapists. We live amongst predators. All type of people, bro. Drug dealers, all that. But these are supposed to be the people that society is supposed to deem bad. We're supposed to shun away. But we tolerate it, right? We're kind of in a sense programmed to tolerate it. Through social media and all that, right? They make us get familiar with being around people that do mischievous things. You know what I'm saying? Look who our president is. Look who he was surrounding himself by. Everybody knew, but he still got in there. Why? Because at a certain point, people just stopped caring. People just end up like, well, as long as it don't affect me. So that's kind of how that go. That's how at least that's how I view it. Right? That's how I view it. Let me know if I'm tripping or not. Let me know what you think.
Really did do something with Charlie D'Amelio. I'm not saying I know or I don't. Why is this now being revealed in petty drama? That's how I'm reading it. I'm not gonna lie. Then on top of all of that, a whole Faze member is just bluntly naming Banks as part of a cover-up of a PDF situation with another Faze member. And we find out Plaque Max has assumed mentorship under him while knowing this, because no way he didn't know about one of the biggest Faze scandals that happened this year. A scandal.
That's what I'm saying, bro. At some point, you gotta stop giving these niggas the benefit of the doubt. You are who you are. Alright? You don't care as much as you think you care. you probably, yeah, I care about this, I care about that. Until a situation comes in which you have to prove it. You have to like show how much you care, right? You say you stand for this, but you getting mentorship from Faze Banks. How did that look? Like what? Like, I mean, but you know, the way that the internet portrays people is different from real life. So maybe he sees something in Faze that us people on the outside don't see. I doubt it though.
That involved covering up for a PDF file.
A couple of counter flashes, a little bit of
Oh shit, yo Max, appreciate the gift, my G. Hope all is well with you, man.
Very quiet.
Not gonna lie, bro. I know this nigga did some fucked up shit, dog. But I hate seeing niggas look broken, bro. That ass, that shit hurt. I hope this nigga cool, bro. What he did was fucked up, but.
So what I'm telling you is that we should empathize with the fact that the industry is looking for the vulnerable. And in turn,
so he already knew. Yeah, he already knew. Yeah. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's right there in our face. That's all I'm gonna say is it's right there in our face.
Of this situation, we should wish Max well. But at the end of the day, this is a symptom of a larger issue. And that issue is a very, very weird industry. And I think the sensationalized stories can almost act as a smokescreen. We knew Faze as a group wasn't solid. It was a corporate revival putting together a bunch of vastly different people from different sides of the internet. And it did what it did what it needed to do, but evidently at the cost of their autonomy.
It did its little 1-2. It did its little, you feel me?
Hence the puppet stuff, and at the cost of the well-being of at least Blackboy Max. So with that being said, if I get this out today, number 2 will arrive before New Year's. I'm gonna get up out of here. Y'all niggas be blessed.
Shit, hey, quality video DH, you did your thing. Yeah, honestly, this should let you know that we have to take certain people. We can't put too much emotion or too much trust into these people, man. Once you hit a certain income bracket, depending on what you do, there's gonna be opportunities and situations in which you may have to sell your soul, right? And a lot of these people do. They choose an option in which they wouldn't have chose if it was 2 years ago or 5 years ago, you know, but they seen different things, they experienced a different lifestyle, so their moral compass changed. And it shouldn't be that way, but it is what it is. So all I gotta say is, man, keep your friends close. Keep your enemies closer. Let me go out of here. I'm starting to yap. I'm gone. Peace.